shit, I agree. For real talk. Hey, man, just because we know people, don't mean they know things. A lot of us was in the same classes with some of these folks. That don't mean they were passing these classes all the time. It ain't the world leaving you behind, man. It's your line of thinking. You think the science stopped evolving because you stopped learning it. And it don't work that way. I couldn't imagine voting for somebody who thinks identifying with me is identifying with a felon. That's crazy as hell. I'm Mr. Spann, and I'm approving these messages. This is the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. Let's go. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Spann. This is episode number 66 of the show, man. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it tonight. Yeah. No, man, but as a matter of fact, not only is it the 66th episode of the show, but this week represents the 14th anniversary of me ever picking up a microphone to become a podcaster. So we're going to cheer that too, baby. Yeah. 14 years in the game. 14 years in the game, man. 14 years doing this, man. And I remember when I came into this, to this with a lot of friends, man. A lot of friends in the podcast game. A lot of our friends have had to give up the podcasting because, life is life in for them, man. I've seen friends get married. I've seen friends have children and move on to jobs and everything else. So I understand why they had to do it. I do still miss their voices though. And, one of the things that I really did enjoy about last week was that I got a chance to, kind of reconnect and talk with some of my podcast friends, Rod and Ken over at the Black Guy Who Tips, who are also celebrating their 15th year anniversary podcast. So, big up for that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. Yeah, man, big up to them. 15 years in the game, man. They are a very needed voice out here. I listen to Rod and Ken damn near every day as much as I can listen to Rod and Ken. And I miss some of the other voices though. Like I miss my man. I miss the whole Where's My 40 Acres crew. I miss the Insanity Check. When they were down. When Chris took that down, man. I miss listening to Whiskey Wine and Moonshine, man. I felt like some of those ladies were like some of my like cooler older sisters and shit. So yeah, man. Like that nigga getting nostalgic a little bit because like I said, it's been 14 years. I've been doing this 14 years. And, like, as a matter of fact, like I said, as much as, a lot of people now who are getting into podcasting are getting into podcasting because it's lucrative for them, I do it because I love to do it. I love, this is a hobby of mine. This is an outlet of mine. And so, for me to be able to still be able to get on this microphone and talk my shit and give y'all my perspective on what's happening in the world and y'all wanting to listen to me talk my shit, it's gratifying. So, thank you for everybody who supported the Spann Report Podcast, the Spann Report Podcast Network, and the Mr. Spann Official Podcast up to this point, man. Real talk. So thank you so much for riding with your boy this long, man. Real talk. But, of course, before we get into everything, I got to remind you guys how to get in touch with your man Spann here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast. You can go ahead and hit up that hotline at area code 313-288-0485. It's area code 313-288-0485. Leave us those voicemail messages. Those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here, Mr. Spann. I'm sorry, not the email. You can also hit me up at feedback@thespannreport.com. It's not Mr. Spann. It's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us some emails. Of course, there's emails to get right here and reply to here live on the show. You can leave us comments on Spotify, right? So we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and leave us those comments on Spotify. We will read those comments here live on the show. We appreciate everybody who does that. Leave us a review, 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who does that. It doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple of minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. Also, man, follow me on Threads and on Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there, chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, if you're on Blue Sky, I'm also on Blue Sky. So if you want to chop it up with me over there, hit me up at Mr. Spann. There's no underscore there. There's MISPANN.bsky.social. So hit me up there, chop it up with me over there if you are so inclined, man. Real talk. So, yeah, man. Oh, and I almost forgot. Damn it, we got a store. How the fuck is that? Yeah, man, we got a store, man. So if you want to copy yourself some merch, man, if you want to contribute to us in that way, or by helping us with purchasing some merch, man, we do have a store. The link will be in the show notes, man. Copy yourself a hoodie. It's kind of cold outside for those of us who are living in the Midwest right now. I've been outside shoveling snow the last couple of days outside of my house. It's been cold outside. So get those hoodies, man. Warm yourself up and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't want to do the hoodie thing, man, you can go ahead and get your coffee mug and warm yourself up that way. One nice warm cup of hot cocoa or some coffee, man, or some hot tea. Just, we really appreciate you guys who support us in that way. And like I said, we do have hats in the store as well. So as my man said, we got some hats now, motherfuckers. We got hats now. So yeah, we appreciate everybody who would go ahead and cop some of that merch, man. Thank you so much for your patronage. Thank you so much for your support over the years, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, man, we are gonna get right into it. Hold on, we got some comments here in the chat. Let's see. Hold on, what's going on here? Let me do this here because I got stuff in the way here. All right, but we got some. Let's see. Sounds messed up. You sound like a robot. I'm sounding like a robot again this week. Listen, I really do need to holler at these folks over at EV Mux because this is unfucking acceptable. We had this issue last week. Let me do this here because I'm not about to go through this again. Let's do this. Give me 1 second, family. Let's do this. Boom.
Let me know in the chat if it sounds any different. If it sounds any different, am I still sounding like a robot or whatnot? In the chat, let me know. Because I think I might have to do something different after this week if this shit continues. Because I'm spending way too much money for me to sound like a robot, man. Like, this shit ain't free, man. So I don't need this to sound like that. Okay, sounds better. He says it sounds better. Okay, so I guess we're going to do it this way, man. I'm using a different mic, so this is like kind of totally not needed. But you know what? Now, there's a different sound. I noticed this because we went through this last week. As Jay Foley's let me know, he says it sounds normal. But we went through this last week when I had Rod and Karen on, and actually it was a delay in me being able to release that episode because I had to chop away so much dead space, dead time trying to just fix this issue. So these folks cost money, and I'm gonna need them to get their shit together because it was working fine up until like the last couple of weeks. So I'm just glad I wanted us to be able to like to sound good. That's more than anything. When it comes to a podcast, man, your shit gotta sound good. Ain't nobody trying to listen to no bullshit podcast, man. If you sound bad, ain't nobody listening. Okay, so but I appreciate you, Jay, for letting me know, pulling my coat to that. Because if you hadn't said nothing, nigga, I wouldn't have known. Because it sounds great over here. Like that's the worst part about it. It sounds really my headphones, nigga. I sound amazing. This shit is beautiful. But but good looking on letting me know it was sounding a little fucked up. So appreciate you, brother. But yeah, let's get into. Wait, let me hide that. See, I got a lot going on. But let's get into some of this news that's going on in the world, man. First things first, I want to send my prayers and condolences to everybody who's lost anything out in California, man, with the California wildfires, man. You never really prepare for anything like that. You're just not. And to have people, especially on social media, it's weird. Like, we're living in such a weird time where, like, even a tragedy like that, people are using for social media clout and whatnot. You got influencers who are more concerned about being seen at the wildfires, appearing to help people, than actually trying to to help people. You have some people who are making AI images of firefighters rescuing animals and shit. And it's like, bro, you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the other part about it is, it's like, I know there's a lot of people who just can't necessarily decipher whether or not something is AI or not. But like, nah, this shit is clearly AI to anybody who's paying attention. And it's sad that in the midst of everybody in that area having to deal with all of the bullshit that they're dealing with, but that you still have folks who are looking at that as an opportunity to enrich themselves, to make themselves look better, to try to enhance their social media profile and shit like that. It's pathetic, man. It is fucking sad. But I'm heartened by some of the messages that I'm getting from folks out in California where they're talking about the level of camaraderie that is bringing folks together because they're dealing with this issue together, and is bringing them folks that they probably wouldn't have been linked up with prior to, that they're finding themselves in common cause, finding reasons to unify because man, you might be a Trump supporter, you might be a Kamala Harris supporter, Republican, Democrat, whatever. You might be in blood or crip or whatever. Like, hey man, we all losing right now. So all that other shit don't mean nothing for the moment. Like, let's get this shit back together. And like, it's been beautiful, like kind of seeing um, some of that kind of manifest itself over the course of the last week or so, man. But yeah, I have a special disdain for you folks who are out here looking for social media clout and trying to make yourselves look better on social media by just trying appearing to help when you're not doing the goddamn thing. You're not lifting the finger to help folks, and we don't need that, man. If you're gonna be out there, man, be out there and be it for some assistance. Be out there and be help to someone, because at some point you may need help as well. So yeah, man, prayers up to everybody in California who are dealing with those issues and having to kind of deal with these ancillary niggas who are out here clout chasing as well, man. We got another comment here. My man Jay Fool says, I'm struggling between wanting to help out but also being on the edge of the evacuation zone myself. I've been donating clothes because they don't have a lot of men's clothes. Hey, brother, so long as you are actually out here trying to help folks, you trust me, you a champ over here, bro. Like, straight up, like anybody who's actually trying to help. So also, if they put out an evacuation order for you, man, I want you to be safe, man. I want you to be safe, and I want you to get the hell up out of there. And the help that you've been able to give thus far, man, ain't nobody mad at you. As a matter of fact, man, I'm proud to know you if you out here actually helping folks out here that way, especially considering the threats to your life and the threats to your property that you are you stand to have to endure. So hey man, salute to you, brother. Salute to you. Real talk, man. Real talk. Thank you for your contribution to the cause, man. Real talk. So we got that going on now. A few things have happened over the course of the week. Of course, I kind of want to talk and speak to these things. It's part of the reason why we do this show. We're gonna start with something. We're gonna start with something a little trivial. All right. So one of the things that kind of caught my eye over the course of the week was Dame Dash, right? So Dame Dash, y'all remember Dame Dash. Dame Dash is one of the founding members of Rockefeller Records. Between him, Kareem Biggs, and I forget what Biggs' last name was and shit, and Jay-Z. They created one of the most influential rap, imprints in hip hop. And Dame has been dealing with some shit over the course of the last few years, man. One of the things that one of the things with Dame Dash though is that, like, Dame Dash, from the time we've known Dame Dash, he's been kind of an asshole. And unfortunately for Dame Dash, that being an asshole to people is coming back to bite him in the ass. So he went and did an interview, and we get this story from Black Enterprise magazine. And here's another thing. Here's another thing I wanted to speak to. I'm a little surprised because there's been a couple stories that I've come across over the last few weeks where I'm getting these stories from Black Enterprise. And I remember Black Enterprise being an outlet for economic news, Black economic news, Black business and stuff like that. But I'm starting to notice that Black Enterprise magazine is popping up with a lot of gossipy ass, like a lot of gossipy sort of what was that, gossipy sort of like articles and shit. Like they like Black Enterprise magazine is with the shits now. And so we find ourselves getting messy with Black Enterprise as they talk about Dame Dash saying that Kevin Hart owes him. Yeah, man. So Dame Dash went on it's a YouTube show, I believe it's called The Art of Dialogue. And really, I'm surprised that The Art of Dialogue is talking to somebody else that don't got shit to do with Tupac. Because every time I saw a video associated with The Art of Dialogue, it was always some shit that had to do with Tupac and like the people around Tupac and like the people who used to fuck Tupac and the people who used to fight with Tupac and the people who might have killed Tupac. It was like a Tupac centered like channel. And so I guess they're branching out to other, people in hip hop or whatever. But Dame Dash is saying that he discovered Kevin Hart, and that he thinks that Kevin Hart, should probably, reach back and help him in some way. So I got video to this. I'm gonna pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with me, and let's see exactly what they are talking about in regards to whether or not what Kevin Hart, in regards to how Dame Dash feels about Kevin Hart. Let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Let me do this here. Boom, boom. There we go. Let's see what he talking about.
Paper Soldiers. How did that movie come about? And I want to say that was the first time I seen Kevin Hart, if I'm not mistaken.
I discovered him. That was the first movie he was ever in. So, I was looking for comedians, and I went to the club. I think I was with Rachel, my ex-wife, or my wife at the time, and I was with Jay Black, and he was funny. So him and Smokey were there, and I told him I had a movie I wanted him to be in, and I put him in the movie the next week. I directed that. That was like my directorial debut.
And it showed.
State Property Part 2.
And it showed.
I remember.
It was not a good movie.
That's a pretty big deal, man. You pretty much discovered him.
No, I discovered Kev Hart. I also had him in Death of a Dynasty, his second movie.
Yeah, you did have him in there. Yeah, I remember him being in that.
And what's funny? He plays Puff. Go to American New and go on Death of a Dynasty and check it out. He plays Puff. He plays a couple of characters, but Puff is one of the characters he plays.
So what made you put him in the movie? You seen the potential?
Yeah. It's like saying, why did I, sign Jay-Z? Because he was funny. And I was developing Rockefeller Films. So, he was like, to me, it was like getting artists to be with the company. But yeah, I thought he was funny. He has that I knew that that he was safe, that white people were with him, and he didn't mind being teased. People, bruh, I've killed them in movies, in fashion, in rock and roll. I don't think people can process that I did and do so much. Me just casually saying I didn't only discover him, I directed the movie he was in. You understand what I'm saying? Like directing.
I think he's forgetting that those movies weren't that good though. Right? I think that's the part that he's missing. Like, I discovered Kevin Hart and I put him in these movies and I directed the films too. And but those movies weren't any fucking good. Paper Soldiers wasn't good. It just wasn't. State Property, terrible fucking movie. It just wasn't good, man. About the only movie that Rockefeller Films made that was good was probably Paid in Full. That was it. And I doubt damn well, I doubt for sure that this nigga didn't direct that shit, right? But he tends to believe that Kevin Hart owes him something, right? Now, if you think about this, man, I remember, this is just going back to some of the things I was thinking about when I was younger and shit. Like how not even so much when I was younger, but when State Property and Paper Soldiers, all that shit was coming out straight to DVD, those types of movies, they were okay, you know what I'm saying? But again, they were low budget type films and whatnot. Kevin Hart didn't really get on until well after Soul Plane. I want to say it was probably when Kevin Hart did the All-Star Comedy Jam, Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam at All-Star Weekend, where Kevin Hart was really seen as yo, this motherfucker might be next up. Because the movies that he had done prior up to that point were ass. Even Soul Plane, they were ass. So Dame Dash is dealing with some shit now where he's in a tight spot. We saw he had to give up his portion of Rockefeller and all that other shit, and it went up for auction, and it didn't get nowhere near what he thought it was going to get. And he found him, he called himself trying to dispel the rumors that he ain't struggling and all this other stuff. He did a what was that, a YouTube live, or I'm sorry, a Instagram live or some shit like that, where he was on a ranch in Wyoming or whatever the fuck, and his teeth fell out. Y'all remember that shit? Y'all remember that shit? But he was basically trying to say, I'm not broke like y'all niggas are broke. Like, my broke is different from y'all. But the point that I'm making is, if you're not in that fucked up spot, saying that Kevin Hart owes you, or Kevin Hart has never reached back to help you, when you've made it your mission, or better yet, not even so much made it your mission, your whole persona has been to shit on niggas. Like, you shat on niggas your entire rise up. And now when you fall down, them same people that you shat on, I'm like, nah, brother. Oh, damn. Sucks to be you. Right? And so Kevin Hart been out here working, making a name for himself outside of that shit that he was doing with Rockefeller, and you feel like he owes you because you put him in a movie that ultimately like wasn't all that good and didn't really springboard him into a whole lot of shit. It just didn't. But the whole thing with, like, what was that when he was talking being a chatty patty? Just being chatty patty right now, right? He's being a chatty patty. Not only is that, like, he talked about how bosses don't ask for help. Well, nigga, right now it look like he's begging for help right now for somebody who's became a boss, a much bigger boss than you, and now you mad that boss ain't helping you be a bigger boss because you said you put that boss on. Like, hey man, figure it out. Figure it out. I like, the thing with Dame Dash, man, is that I think Dame Dash doesn't understand how much, even to this day, I don't think Dame Dash understands how many people he may have helped, but who also resent that they even had to deal with him because of the way he treated people, or the perception of how he treated people, right? The perception that we have of Dame Dash is that Dame Dash was an asshole to everybody. And if you're an asshole to everybody, then it doesn't lend itself to being conducive to your continued success. Is if everybody you shat on is now in a better position than you, and now you need help, right? It doesn't cost anything to be nice to people. It doesn't cost anything to not be an asshole. Being a nice person is free. Not being an asshole is free. You ain't got to be a dick to everybody. Sometimes you got to pick and choose your spots. Apparently, Dame Dash wasn't picking and choosing his spots. And so he's in a position now where he's doing interviews with the Art of Dialogue, talking about, that Kevin Hart owes him because Kevin Hart is now successful in comedy and in movies and everything else. So you got that going on. That was something I kind of came across my timeline. One thing I want to talk about. Another thing that kind of came across, man, that I kind of want to talk about was the fact that we lost a president. Right, we lost a president. President Jimmy Carter died at the age of 100 last week. His funeral was last week, and of course, as is protocol, more often than not, the living presidents of the United States tend to attend those funeral proceedings, right? And so one of the things about the funeral is that, like, you get some people who are rivals with one another in the same fucking room, and they have to act civil. They gotta be civil. They gotta act like they like each other. They gotta, at least not make a scene. You know what I'm saying? They gotta. It's a profession. Even though you're not the president of the United States anymore, you still a statesman. People still look to you for some sort of guidance in ways. People still look for their input on a lot of different topics and whatnot. So their influence is, despite the fact that they're no longer in office, although it's waned a bit, there's still some influence there. And so at Jimmy Carter's funeral, we got some pretty weird visuals coming up out of that damn funeral, man. So I'm gonna pull this video up so you guys can watch right along with your man Spann. Hold on a second while I pull this up. But Donald Trump and Barack Obama, were being very motherfucking sniggly and giggly up in that goddamn funeral, man. Yeah, man. So let's see exactly what the hell was going on as I play this video. Let's see. Hey, okay, so there's no audio here other than the music and whatnot, so we can turn that shit down. But for those of you who are watching, like, these motherfuckers are chatting it up. Like, they're really chatting it up. Like, Barack Obama, I mean, like, not even so much that. Donald Trump is all leaned in, smiling and shit. He didn't have the decency or to stand up for George W. Bush and his wife Laura, while they're coming in, he just sat there, him and his wife. Like, and Melania is just like, I'm just here, man. I'm here so I don't get fined. You know what I'm saying? This is some bullshit that I even got to show up to this bullshit. But then you see Trump right back in Barack Obama's ear. Barack Obama laughing and shit, he giggling and whatnot, right? Now, okay, so now you got and that was another thing too. So Michelle Obama skipped out on this shit. She like, I don't want no parts. They're gonna have, because I'm gonna end up having to sit next to this Orange Menace, and I don't want to have anything to do with that, right? She ain't want to have anything to do with that. So ain't nobody mad at Michelle Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama. We get it, sis. You good, right? So that left Barack out here on the limb, no, having to entertain this motherfucker. Like, so everybody else being solemn, and Trump is in his ear talking shit, right? And one of the things I thought about was this though. So the thing is, like I said, because people were in their feelings about Barack Obama, appearing to be chummy and, like I said, sniggling and giggling, with Donald Trump. But here's the thing I think is very important to understand is that I think Barack Obama understands that he's being watched at all times, right? That his very presence anywhere is being scrutinized, is being monitored, and to much the same degree that most of those other former presidents were. Not to the same degree, because I think that as time passes on, their relevance tends to wane a bit. Like, we're not necessarily looking at how much Barack Obama might necessarily, I'm sorry, not Barack Obama, but Bill Clinton may be interacting with Donald Trump. But we would certainly be trying to figure out how Hillary Clinton would be interacting with Donald Trump. The thing with Donald Trump being the successor to Barack Obama, that being a thing, especially considering like the messiness that is Donald Trump and how he's interacted with all of them, right? And so I think what was going on there, and this is just me speculating, the same way everybody else is speculating, but what I think was going on there was Barack Obama being a fucking civil human being, right? This is a funeral that we were at. It's a state funeral that we're at. I know I'm being watched. I know I'm being videotaped. I know this is being scrutinized. And because I know the cameras are on us at this very moment, I am not going to be an ornery motherfucker. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to give this dude the satisfaction of making or turning me into an ornery person. Especially when you think about how Barack Obama, and not just Barack Obama, but Joe Biden has like really leaned into the idea and the importance of the peaceful transfer of power and all these other things. As much as folks have a disdain for Donald Trump, as much as people on the left don't want Donald Trump normalized, I think to someone like a Barack Obama and to someone like a Joe Biden, they're more inclined and worried about the institutions, right? They're worried about how we preserve the institutions. And as much as we don't like this orange motherfucker, we gotta if we're about the preservation of the institution, especially the respect of the presidency, then we unfortunately have to do this song and dance. I just think that at this particular moment in time, Barack Obama was like, I'm just not trying to look like I'm not trying to be an ornery motherfucker right now. This ain't the time. This ain't the place for any of that sort of foolishness. And I'm not about to get entwined in that. Donald Trump, on the other hand, I think as much as he's talked shit about everybody else in that room, honestly, I think that comes from a place of wanting to be accepted. And the fact that he is not accepted grates at him, like to a tremendous degree. And he projects as though he doesn't need that acceptance. But if he were in a room with those folks, and you're seeing it there in that conversation, he wants to be accepted. He wants to have conversations with these folks. He wants to be seen at the same level as these people. One of the things that one of Donald Trump's biggest Achilles heel has always been that he's felt as though he has never been accepted by the people with whom he wanted to be in league with, whether that be the people of New York and the social elites that were the people in New York, whether it be in real estate or the the socialite community in New York. And then when you got into politics, being a part of the social or the political elite, so to speak, being a part of that, even though he had ascended to the presidency, he understood. I think he understood, and I think that a lot of folks understood that, like, yo, we just tolerating your ass, but a lot of the shit that you're talking about, a lot of shit you're trying to do, we not really even within his own administration, there were folks who were like, nah, we trying to cut that shit down because he on some bullshit, right? So I think that Donald Trump yearns for acceptance, while at the same time acting as though he doesn't need it, but he yearns for it. And so I think part of that is what we saw there at that funeral. Now we got a comment here. My man Reggie T writes in. Reggie T writes in and says, "We always got to be the civil motherfuckers." it's you know what, bro? I get the frustration with that. I do get the frustration with that because I remember like right before the election and shit, I wore a fuck Trump sign. I wore a fuck Trump shirt to work and stuff, right? And it was like the Deadpool. Y'all might have seen me wear it on the show once before, but it was like Deadpool doing this, giving the two finger salute and whatnot, and it was like fuck Trump or whatnot. And one of my union stewards pulled me to the side. He said, "Hey, Spann, I know it's freedom of speech and all that other stuff, man, but we don't want you in the room, man. We got to talk to management and stuff like that because these white folks feeling like you bullying them or something like that." And I'm like, well, shit. I'm walking past, work trucks where these motherfuckers are putting political signs on the trucks on company vehicles, nigga. Like I'm walking around with a fuck Trump shirt on my person. These niggas are bold enough to put this shit on company vehicles. So like the double standard of like they can be political, they can be like assholes and stuff like that, and we gotta be the ones to to shut up and make our disdain for what's going on not known. I understand that frustration. Trust me, I do, man. But I think that's really what was going on there. I don't think Barack Obama was really trying to be on some key shit with Donald Trump. I just don't. I just feel like that man understood I'm being scrutinized right now. Donald Trump is speaking to me right now, and I gotta I gotta just bite the bullet on this one and just entertain this motherfucker for the moment. And I think that's what was happening. I don't think it was anything beyond that. As much as people were upset with Barack Obama, and I get there, folks being upset with him, but I think that's really what that was, man. But I appreciate you, Reggie, for writing in, man. Thank you so much for contributing to the conversation. Now, another thing that we got going on, man. This is some Detroit shit, all right? So this is some Detroit shit. I doubt very seriously that many of you guys are familiar with this shit happening here, but oh my God, nigga, like, whew. So there was an altercation at a gas station, and this shit resulted in a fight at a gas station, and it also involved two guns being drawn at that very same gas station. And of course, like I said, your man Spann got the videos, man. I try to keep these videos up and on deck, so we can watch these things together and we can dissect them and enjoy them together. But we got video. But apparently there was a confusion over the cost of a drink, right? Now, for those of you who are not familiar, here in Michigan, if you buy like a pop or a beer or any sort of soft drink other than like bottled water or something like that, there's a 10-cent deposit on that drink. So you can return that bottle, get 10 cents back, but you pay that 10 cents up front. Okay, it's mostly like to promote recycling and things of that nature. But apparently there was some confusion about the cost of this drink, and some folks got into like some fisticuffs at this gas station. So I'm gonna pull this video up, like I said, so you guys can watch right along with me. This happened. Where was this? This was in. Did they say where exactly the gas station was? Okay. So they didn't say who the gas station was. But I will say this. One of the people involved was a Wayne County Parks director. Her name happens to be Alicia Bradford. The initial fight started with her husband, Larry Bradford. Unfortunately, I think Alicia Bradford may be like losing her job, if not going to fucking jail. All right, but let me pull this up so you guys can watch right along with your man. Here we go. Check this out, you guys. Wait a minute. They done swapped the videos out. This ain't the, hold on, nah, this ain't the one. Hold on. They done swapped the videos because I want the full unadulterated video. I don't want the edited one. I want the one where they was like, you know, where the fight started and everything. Okay. This may be it. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, I hate when they do this. I hate when they do this. So they had a totally unedited video of this. They had but they've edited a lot of this out. So I guess okay. So we're gonna do this here. I'm gonna pull this up, but I hate that they took the raw video. I hate that they took this down off of the fucking website. Jesus Christ, I hate when they do that. All right, but here we go. Let's see what they're talking about here.
He's got it. Get in it. They know your business. Oh, get the fuck out, man. Who the fuck is you talking to? You! You put your hands on me, bitch.
Oh, this is a different angle.
Motherfucker, hey, don't talk to me like that. I don't know that fuck you. You don't know me.
Okay, so they throwing hands. Y'all can see it. That's clearly. Okay, now put the hands on them. Hey, no, real talk. Let this be a lesson to all of these young folks, though. That old man's strength is real. That man look every bit of 65, right? But he's slinging this motherfucker around this goddamn gas station. He is slinging this man. Let that be a lesson, man. Like, don't think just because like in there and he looking, you know, he got his leather on, he got his Dodge hat on, that he ain't with the shits. No, don't fuck with that man. Do not fuck with that man. Like you might be in for some for some problems. You don't want them problems, man. You don't want them.
Sorry, sir. Yeah.
What the hell did they do with the angle, bro? What are they doing here? So the uncle then left out and he didn't ask his wife to go get his pistol. He didn't ask for the pistol. He done told his wife, "Give me my pistol."
I apologize.
Meanwhile, this other guy's like, you know, looking for like his glasses or some shit. As like, you know, they done knocked over the chips and all this other stuff, but he's looking for his glasses while he knocks over other shit.
Should I wait? I don't want to get in trouble. Motherfucker! No, don't go. Use your motherfucking knees! Use your knees! Say you sorry! I apologize, sir.
And this is where Unc is gonna get in trouble. He left the store, went into his car, got his pistol, came back into the store with his pistol, and told Buddy to get on his fucking knees. That's what's gonna get Buddy. That's what's gonna get Buddy in trouble.
I apologize. I found my goddamn ring.
His wife is outside hollering something.
I gotta find my ring. What happened? Did he try to rob you?
She worried about him being robbed.
No.
But she about to find herself in some troubles too. Because basically he got Buddy on his knees looking for a ring at gunpoint.
Your fucking brains out. All right, whatever. You should do that. Move this shit out. Find my damn ring. What happened? What happened?
Now she done came into the gas station. Now she got her pistol too.
What happened?
Now she like, what happened? What happened?
You punched me out the door. He punched me. Baby, what happened? Yes, my friend. What happened?
Now they both got pistols on old boy.
What happened? We argued. What happened? We argued. You came at me. What happened? Larry, look what you stuff. I'm gonna call the police. Go ahead.
Police had already been called.
Larry, whatever you do, let me call the police.
You should.
No, you're gonna stay down there. You're gonna stay down there.
Okay, so this is again. I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds like false imprisonment to me, right? Both you and your husband got this man at the gas station on the floor, pistols to him, talking about you gonna stay down there and now we gonna call the cops, right? as if the gas station attendant ain't already called the police, right? Now, I am all for folks exercising the Second Amendment. That's one of the things that I run into. I'm in contention with a lot of my folks on the left, man. People don't be feeling like, nobody needs guns and shit like that. And I'm like, hey, more power to you niggas, but not over here, right? Especially considering our opposition, 9 times out of 10, those motherfuckers are armed. And, I get, the kumbaya shit, but like, nah, fuck that. If they got some smoke, I want them to regret the day that they brought the smoke over here, right? And I think that and Auntie right here, the Bradfords, they had the same goddamn thinking that you brought the smoke, you're gonna regret the day that you brought the smoke over here. Unfortunately, I think they did it the wrong way, man. They did it the wrong way. I don't think this required anybody to have any guns pulled out on them. Old boy was already on the ground apologizing and shit. And to think that all of this is based on an argument over whether or not Unc had to pay a 10-cent deposit on the soft drink or not. Like, that's what all of this stemmed from. Unc was arguing back and forth with the cashier about whether or not he should pay the 10 cents on the drink. And the dude is tired of waiting on Unc because he going back and forth and he arguing with him. And so now him and Unc getting into fisticuffs. Now Unc pulling out leaving the store, coming back in the store with the pistol. Then his wife coming to the store with another pistol, talking about some, now we gonna call the cops. You hate to see it, man. You hate to see aunties and uncles out here acting like the little young Thundercats. But yeah, man, the young Thundercats, I think even some of the young Thundercats would have said, nah, Unc, that ain't how you do this shit right here, man. This ain't what you're doing. And like, as I'm watching this whole thing, like, you want to feel sorry for the guy on the ground, but at the same time, it's like, I don't, because like, you could have minded your own business, man. Could have minded your own business, but now here you is on the ground with 2 guns to you, all over the fact that you wanted to argue. Ooh, okay, damn. All over the fact that you wanted to argue over whether or not old boy should pay the 10-cent deposit on the soft drink, man. So we got that going on. But yeah, man, like it's crazy out here. Okay, it's crazy out here. Like Donald Trump ain't even took the presidency yet, and it's crazy out here. Shit. So, excuse me, we got that going on. Now, another thing we got going on has to do with Mark Zuckerberg, man. So Mark Zuckerberg is out here pissing a whole lot of people off as it stands right now. And the reason why Mark Zuckerberg is pissing a whole lot of folks off right now is the fact that he has decided to do away with fact checking on all of the Meta platforms, whether that be Facebook, whether that be Instagram, and whether that be Threads. And so a lot of folks are listening to that and said, yeah, man, people are pissed about it, right? And I'll say this as we read this story here. This comes out of go.com. I'm gonna read this article first, and then I'll have some comments on the back end of this. But it says that Facebook plans to replace its fact checkers with community notes, a move that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg said would allow the social network to return to our roots around free expression. We're replacing fact checkers with community notes, simplifying our policies and focusing on reducing mistakes, Zuckerberg said on Tuesday, looking forward to this next chapter. The changes, which will also be in place for Instagram and Threads, will lift restrictions on some topics that are part of the mainstream discourse and will focus on the company's enforcement on illegal and high-severity violations, Joel Kaplan, Chief Global Affairs Officer, said in a blog post titled More Speech and Fewer Mistakes. Meta executives sought in their statements to tie the update to what they described as a sea change in public discourse accompanying the rise of President-elect Donald Trump's brand of politics. Fact checkers who were put in place in the wake of Trump's 2016 election have proven to be too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, particularly in the United States, Zuckerberg said. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. The decision also follows Zuckerberg's recent meetings with Trump at the president-elect's private Mar-a-Lago club in Florida. And Meta is donating to Trump's presidential inaugural committee, marking a first for the company. The shift in policy mirrors a series of updates that Elon Musk, a Trump ally, made after purchasing rival social network Twitter, which he has since rebranded as X. Kaplan on Tuesday praised the approach Musk has taken, saying that X, under its new owner, has empowered its community to decide when posts are potentially misleading and need more context. We think this could be a better way of achieving our original intention of providing people with information about what they're seeing and one that's less prone to bias. As the company's fact-checking capabilities have grown, they have expanded to the point where we're making too many mistakes, which in turn has frustrated many of the social network's users. Too much harmless content gets censored. Too many people find themselves wrongly locked up in Facebook jail, and we are often too slow to respond when they do, he said. Now, I'm going to say this, man. And, yeah, I'm just going to say this shit. I'm not all that upset at the fact that they are getting rid of the fact checkers, man. I'm not. And the reason why I'm not as upset as a lot of folks are is because I understood that, like, we're living, to me, if you were asking me, I feel as though the fact checkers, despite their presence there, didn't really do a whole lot as far as alerting people to, to false information. We are so far gone from that now. I think we are past the point of whether or not people respect facts at all, right? Just like a brief little anecdote here. There was a Facebook. Matter of fact, shit, I can just pull the shit up. While I'm sitting here right at my computer. It's not like I can't just like pull the shit up. But I had a little interaction, a little back and forth earlier today about the unemployment in America. Right. This was an ABC News post, and it basically said that U.S. jobs, the growth of U.S. jobs skyrocketed again in December, and in December, the U.S. economy added 256,000 jobs. Right. And so one of the things that a lot of the Trump supporters would say is that this is just seasonal work. They trying to take advantage of. They're trying to take credit for seasonal jobs, right? And the fact of the matters is that over the course of Joe Biden's 4 years, there were no job losses. Like to the degree of what happened with Barack Obama, or even Donald Trump, or George W. Bush. Like, there was a continual gain of jobs over the course of Joe Biden's presidency. We know we lost a tremendous amount of jobs due to COVID back in 2019, 2020, right? We know this. And because of those job losses, not only were there job losses, there were life losses. We lost a lot of people out of the workforce as well, right? And so a lot of Trump supporters, they won't necessarily, ding Donald Trump for how he handled COVID. They think that Joe Biden benefited from the fact that, he was able to get jobs back, and then say, well, those were just the jobs that we lost from COVID. And oftentimes that's not the case. Some of these are new jobs on top of new jobs on top of new jobs. Like, we've been getting new jobs for the last 4 fucking years, right? So even if you account for the jobs that returned in the service industry and in the seasonal industry and everything else, that doesn't, a lot of that stuff was made back up in 2021. 2022, 2023, 2024, those are not jobs coming back from COVID. Okay? So, just the mere fact of that, they don't want to deal with that. So if you put a fact check in front of some shit that they post, again, when we're dealing in a post-truth society, well, we're dealing in a society where, we got motherfuckers living on Earth 1 and motherfuckers living on Earth 2, where, I'm looking at the same thing you looking at, but we're getting two entirely different motherfucking things. Not only are we getting two entirely different things about it, we're seeing it from two different political lenses, and we're not going to see this the same way, right? I say, take for instance how what's going on in California right now, right? What's going on in California right now with those wildfires, and how quickly the wildfires and how they're being handled is being used as a political tool against Democrats right now. There was talk about Karen Bass being in Ghana when the wildfires first started. There's talk about there being, 17 $17 million taken away from the fire department budget. I don't even know if that's true or not. I don't know how true that is, but I've seen that number being floated around on social media. You can talk about how Republicans have been going back and have been touting DEI as a reason why these fires have been spreading the way that they have been, because the Los Angeles has a woman as their fire chief, right? A white woman at that. So even the white women are catching strays when it comes to the DEI shit. Republicans have been out here politicizing these fires ever since they really got out of control. Now you juxtapose that with how when a school shooting happens, and suddenly when people talk about some form of gun control, we don't want to talk about that right now. We don't want to politicize this at the moment. It's too soon. We want to deal with all the facts and how the facts come out and play out. We want, maybe we need to deal with the mental health. We have a mental health crisis here in America, all these things, right? But they don't want to politicize it then. So, it's interesting when it comes to fact checking on social media. Like, I feel as though, you could do all the fact checking you want. To somebody who does not want to believe that shit, there's nothing you can do for that person. Absolutely nothing you can do for that person. They are prone to believe whatever the fuck it is. They are prone to believe you can do nothing for them. You can put all the facts in the world in front of them. You can do nothing for them. You can, and oftentimes, and you've seen this, where they would have comedians go to Trump rallies and stuff like that, and they would say, for instance, they would talk about what was that? There was this thing that was common, like you would see at Trump rallies, where people in the crowd would say, "Well, I believe this is Barack Obama's third term." In regards to Joe Biden, Barack Obama is in control of all of this. Oh, is he? Well, so if he's in control of all of this, then how is he doing it through Joe Biden? And then say well, he's the one making all the decisions for Joe Biden, and then you'd be like, well, okay, but you still think that Trump is the president, though? Yeah, Trump is still the president. But if Trump is still the president, then how is Biden the president making decisions through Barack Obama, but Trump is still the president? And then they stand there and they look at you confused as shit, because even they know that shit sound crazy as fuck. But they ain't coming off of what they coming off of. They're not coming off of their shit. So to a large swath of the American people, facts don't mean a motherfucking thing unless it means good things for their team, unless it's in good things for the person that they're rooting for. They don't give a fuck about the facts at all. They don't care at all about the fucking facts. And so as we go forward, man, when it comes to the fact checking on social media and everything else, especially on a platform like Threads, right? Now, of course, you guys know I left Twitter and started really posting more heavily on Threads, right? But one of the things about Threads that has been a little bit of a crawl in my, I haven't really necessarily been happy with, is that you guys know I talk about politics quite often. Political speech on Threads have been throttled, and you had to opt into whether or not you saw anything political on your feed on Threads, right? You had to opt into that shit, and they made a big deal about telling folks that if you are watching or if you are consuming any political content, you have to opt into it. And so a lot of political folk, a lot of your political commentary folks, as much as they want to use Threads, they found themselves well, I can't. Here's the other part too. A lot of these motherfuckers had thousands and thousands and thousands of followers and shit, and they were talking about they were talking about themselves being throttled. And I'm like, well, shit, I know I'm following you, so I get your shit, But my thing is this: when it comes to free speech on the Meta platforms, I need them, if they're going to go this route, I need Zuckerberg, Adam Mosseri, and all the other top honchos over at Meta who are running these platforms. What I need they asses to do is to make sure y'all doing that shit even-handedly, right? Because oftentimes, as much as the people on the right would consider themselves being throttled, having their free speech being muffled, and all that other shit, trust and believe it's a whole lot of black folks who got that same goddamn, complaint. There's a whole lot of black folks who are on these Meta platforms, whether it be Facebook, whether it be Threads. I'm not sure how much this can, this really, ties into Instagram, but if we're going to do Instagram, then damn it, Instagram too. But there's a whole lot of black folks who are like, hey man, these white folks are out here talking shit to me. And when I clap back, then suddenly I'm suspended. I'm in Facebook jail for clapping back on some shit that some ignorant white person said to me. I need y'all, if y'all gonna really be about this, not fact checking, not censoring and all of this shit, I need y'all to really be about that. I need y'all to really get to the nitty gritty, because if you not gonna police these racist Nazi sons of bitches, then damn it, let me handle these racist Nazi sons of bitches in the way I so see fit. Let me blaze these bitches. Let me go scorch earth on these motherfuckers. If that's what it's going to be. Because ultimately, a lot of minorities end up getting suspended because they're clapping back at some racist shit being said to them. And then if we report some shit, nothing happens to the motherfucker we report it. But we find ourselves in Facebook jail. Why? Why? So if we're going to be about that no fact checking, we're going to be about that no censoring shit, then damn it, you better be across the board equal with your shit. Across the board equal with it. Because it's a whole lot of white folks who've been saved by those Meta platforms because they've been putting black folks in Facebook jail and Meta jail or whatever the fuck you want to call it, when we clap back at somebody saying some foul shit to us. Trust and believe, I done been in Facebook jail a couple times for just saying the truth. Or responding to some shit that I felt inclined to respond to. But the other part about it is this. And look, I said this to a lot of folks who were talking about leaving for Blue Sky, right? There's a lot of folks who left Twitter, decided they were going to come to Threads, and they were going to make Threads their new spot. And Threads has a lot of tools and shit to kind of mitigate stuff, right? So you got a feature on Threads where you can mute for everybody. So if you have a thread on Threads, if you put up a post and someone comes in there talking crazy on your thread, you could just mute that motherfucker for everybody and nobody sees what the fuck that person said. You basically nuke that motherfucker into oblivion. They can't, nobody knows what this person said. Nobody, unless they're following that person, maybe they see their response to what you said. But ultimately, when this is hide for everyone, that hides that shit for this person is basically talking in the void now, right? You can mute for everybody. You can block motherfuckers on Threads. So now they, and then, now when you block them on Threads, not only you're blocking them on Threads, but you're blocking them on Instagram too. So they can't even see you on Instagram either, right? There's another thing that you could do on Threads where, what was it? You can remove. So if somebody calls themselves dunking on you by quoting your post and then dunking on you in their post, you can remove your post from their quote. You can do that, right? So there are tools available to you if you want to curate your social media, your social media experience on Threads and whatnot. I'm not sure how much of this stuff goes over to Instagram, and Facebook has been inundated with a lot of bullshit all the time, right? And it's again, but like I said, going to the fact checking portion of it. If people are inclined to believe some shit, that's just what it is. No matter how much you say that shit is false or whatever else, you can give them all the fucking information in the world. If they are not inclined to look at that shit, if they are not inclined to believe that shit, they will not. And so I think at a certain point, as much as the fact checking kind of helped legitimize a lot of people's viewpoints, to another segment of folks who are inclined to like not trust anything, right, other than the shit that they already believe, that doesn't really mean a whole lot to them. So for me, it's been a thing of, okay, they're removing these fact checks and things of that nature. In an age where so much of the American kind of consciousness has been conditioned to kind of take in so much bullshit information. It's gonna even with the fact checkers there, right? Even with the fact checkers there, I'm not sure if the fact checkers stopped any of the bullshit from spreading. Donald Trump is back in the fucking White House right now, despite the fact that the fact checkers were there for the last 8 years. Fact checkers been there the last 8 years from all the misinformation and bullshit he's been spouting since 2016. Donald Trump is still is the president again, unfortunately, because the facts don't matter to so many people, and because the facts don't matter to so many people, we've gotten to a point where folks hold their opinions higher than their opinions should really be, right? And I've said this on the show plenty of times, man, where there's that Dunning-Kruger effect where people believe they're experts and stuff that, like the people who really know that they don't know a whole lot. And the people who don't know a whole lot don't know how much they don't know. Right? And a lot of folks, you find so many people arguing with experts on shit because they just don't agree with what the expert has said about some things. You don't have any clue what the fuck you talking. You ain't studied none of this shit. You just read a few articles. You probably haven't even read a few articles. You might have read a few headlines about a thing, didn't even dive into the article, but now you feel as though you are an expert on this particular topic because of the headlines you read, and you're discrediting the person who studied this shit for the better part of 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Right? We've gotten to that point where lay people think that they know more than the experts on shit. So, you got niggas who could be able to tell you about a carburetor now telling you whether or not you should get this open heart surgery or not. That nigga might know, he can tell you about that carburetor, but he ain't gonna be able to really tell you about your arteries and your veins and shit, and whether or not your left ventricle and your right ventricle is in the right position for you to get. He can't really tell you that. But damn it, you'd be surprised if you don't see that motherfucker give you his opinion on Facebook about that shit, because he heard something on YouTube or TikTok or whatever the fuck. We are in a post-truth nation at this point. Facts don't matter for a whole lot of folks, man. It's crazy to witness it. It's crazy to witness it. But we're watching this shit happen in real fucking time, where people think that they know more than they do, and they discredit the people who actually do fucking know. Suddenly being an expert in something is a demerit to some of these. Oh, you old smarty art nigga. You think just because you went to school for this shit that you know more than I do? I mean, yeah, nigga. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. It's like when I'm at work. I've been in my current occupation for 14 years. I've been in my current employer for 16. I've been in my current occupation for 14 years. And every now and again, I'll get somebody who don't know what the fuck they talking about telling me how to do my fucking job. And I try to, I'll humor them every now and again. I'm like, so you want the wrenches, my brother? Since you want to talk me through this shit, how about you go over there? Go ahead and knock that out, player. I've had to do that a couple times. But they not paying me for that shit. Well, shut the fuck up then. Leave me alone. How about you go upstairs, bro? Right? That's what I be wanting to say. I can't say that, though. I can't say that. So I'd be like, oh, man, I hadn't thought about it that way, sir. I might incorporate that the next time I'm in this position. But right now, we going to do it like this. Right? Because we got so many people who feel like they know more than the experts on so much shit, and they don't know a motherfucking thing. So, Facebook is getting rid of the fact checking. Now the other part that I think folks are upset with is the fact that Mark Zuckerberg has been giving so much money to Donald Trump in his inaugural, shit, and he's been meeting with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago and all these other things. I'm not surprised by any of that. I think a lot of these billionaires are seeking to get some sort of regulatory relief, so to speak, because ultimately, like, if you think about it, why someone like an Elon Musk is trying to ingratiate himself so closely with somebody like Donald Trump, why he gave so much money to Donald Trump in an effort to get Donald Trump elected, because all of these mega billionaires are trying to get regulations or regulators off their asses when it comes to the products that they're putting out to the rest of us. That's it. It's about the bottom line for them. So it's not so much about whether or not they really believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion is beneficial to their bottom line. Like, in much the same way, like, when it was politically expedient for them to say so. When they thought that black people was about to tear this motherfucker down and tear shit up after George Floyd, all these companies were telling you, they're about their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and stuff. You had so many companies coming out talking about how they were donating monies to, black causes, whether that be for police reform, whether that be for HBCUs, whether that be for public school funding and all this other shit. And then slowly but surely, what happened? You didn't hear a whole lot about that afterwards, right? I talk about how, like, when George Floyd happened, how my company gave us Juneteenth off that year. Like, yeah, these niggas, we will go ahead and take it off. Juneteenth is now a federal and state holiday. You think they gave us that shit off again? Absolutely motherfucking not. So these corporations don't give a fuck about none of us. They give a fuck about the bottom line, man. So I'm not surprised in the least by Mark Zuckerberg's moves right now. And so for a lot of folks who are, moving on to blue sky and patting yourself on the back for moving on to a new website and make yourself feel better about it, I mean, shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? No love lost. Bon voyage, my niggas. But I'm going to let you know right now, if a race is coming my way, they gonna regret the day, nigga. It's not going to be no easy win over here, nigga. I ain't running. Fuck them. Fuck them. That's my feeling on it. Fuck them. You don't want the smoke over here. So we got that going on. But we got that going on. Oh, man, Dwayne Johnson's in the chat room. I mean, what you got to say, brother? Dwayne says, I'm not giving any of these mediocre racist white people any grace on social media platforms in 2025. I can care less what happens with being censored. Hey, man, I hear you. My only thing with this, and I've said it already, my only thing is I just hope that when y'all, with them pulling this shit back, that they don't be out here talking about, you sure you want to say that? Because I get that a lot on threads, man. I say some shit like, you sure you want to say that? I'm like, absolutely, I'm sure. They get the fuck out of my way. But also, like, I need you to stop being, I need them to stop, like, censoring black folks when black folks are out here responding to racism, man. That's the biggest thing. It was so many, especially like that with BLM and stuff like that. There were so many black voices who were being censored and who were being like shut down because we were responding to shit. Hey, if you opening it up for the racists and the Nazis to come through, then damn it, don't have me out here fighting with my hands behind my back, bro. Let me get out. If I feel like I want to engage, because that's the other part about it. You do not have to engage. You don't have to. But for those of you who are inclined to do so, don't have those people out here fighting with their hands behind their back and then, ban them or put them in Facebook jail when they are clapping back on somebody talking some crazy shit to them. Don't do that. Don't do that. So, yeah, man, we got that going on. Facebook out here, Zuckerberg out here, being who Mark Zuckerberg is. And that was, before we get away from this, the other part about this is this. People forget that Facebook, the reason why the fact checkers even came in place in the first place was because not only because of like the misinformation and disinformation that was showing up on Facebook in the 2016 election, but also for those of us who understand that like Facebook was giving our data away to services like Cambridge Analytica, and Cambridge Analytica was targeting messaging towards certain people to get them to be more prone to vote for Donald Trump back in 2016. And when folks found out about that, that's when they introduced the fact checking. So for those of us who've been around long enough to remember, And remember that that was the inception of the fucking fact checks to begin with. It doesn't surprise me at all that Mark Zuckerberg like, well, we never really wanted to do the fact checking in the first place, man. We need to get back to our roots. This is who they've always been. So many folks are surprised by it, but this is who they've always been. Real talk, man. So we got that going on. Now, the other part, one of the things, the last part, because this is the last part I'm going to talk about before we get on about it here tonight. But that FS1, Fox Sports 1 sex scandal, man. It's sad how predictable that whole shit came out to be. It is. I'm telling you, it's sad. I'm telling you, niggas are sad. It is so sad how predictable the reaction to this lawsuit came out to be. So for those of you who are not familiar, there was a young woman, her name is Faraji. I'm sorry, let me pull this article up so I can make sure I get this done right. But we get the story here. This comes out of Mediaite. Her name is Nushin Faraji. Now, Nushin Faraji was a hairdresser for Fox Sports 1 for a number of years. And she has alleged that she is suing Fox Sports 1, and she has alleged that executive vice president of content, a fellow by the name of Charlie Dixon, Skip Bayless, and Joy Taylor had created not only was she alleging sexual harassment, but she was alleging a hostile work environment that forced her to be removed from her position as a hairdresser at the network. Okay, so I'm gonna read a little bit from this article, and then we're gonna get into it a little bit more. So let me do this here. It says a former Fox Sports employee filed a lawsuit accusing several key figures of creating a toxic work environment where sexual harassment was commonplace. The lawsuit, filed Friday in Los Angeles and reported Sunday by Front Office Sports. In it, hairstylist Nushin Faraji, named Executive Vice President of Content for FS1 Charlie Dixon, former Fox Sports pundit Skip Bayless, and current host Joy Taylor as the defendants and main sources of her mistreatment during her 12 years with the company. Throughout her time with the company, Faraji claimed to have experienced, seen, and heard stunning details of workplace harassment and misconduct. Says number one, she alleges that Skip Bayless allegedly offered Faraji $1.5 million for sex in response to her saying she might have cancer. Arguably, the biggest bombshell in a lawsuit filled with them was Bayless' alleged treatment of Faraji. She claimed that the former Undisputed Star once called her voluptuous during one of his weekly haircuts in the makeup room in 2017. Shortly after the weekly haircuts started, Bayless began finding excuses to touch Miss Faraji. He would give her lingering hugs after each haircut, putting his body against her own, pressing against her breast, the lawsuit states. He then began to kiss her on her cheeks. In 2021, Faraji developed issues in an ovary that she was told might have been cancerous. When she relayed that news to Bayless, hoping it would halt his advances, he allegedly offered her money for sex. When she rejected the offer and pointed out the fact that they were both married, he responded with an offensive remark about her Muslim faith. Approximately 1 week later, Mr. Bayless made another advance at Ms. Faraji, the lawsuit claimed. Ms. Faraji responded, "Skip, stop, you have a wife." Mr. Bayless responded, "Aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 or 4 wives?" Oh, shit. Oh, like this. That's crazy. That's crazy. Ms. Faraji responded that her father was dead, and when Mr. Bayless looked taken aback, she made an excuse to leave. Now, like, here's the thing, right? When this story first came about, my thing was like, yo, she, like Skip Bayless out here offering women $1.5 million for the cheeks. Like, he really out here doing this? This is what we doing in 2025, 2024? We out here offering women $1.5 million to smash? Like, bro, and you married? Like, come on, man, what are you doing? What are we doing? What are we fucking doing? I thought that would be the biggest takeaway from this particular fucking lawsuit. But apparently, your man Spann was wrong. So we get more, though. I'm going to read a little bit more, and then we're going to come back to what I'm getting at, right? This is number 2. Taylor, was named moderator of Undisputed following an alleged affair with Dixon. Okay. Faraji claimed to have met Taylor for drinks one night in 2016. Upon arrival, Faraji noticed that Taylor was sitting with a much older man, Dixon. The hairstylist suspected that the two were sleeping with one another. Faraji later saw Dixon in an elevator at work and then told Taylor she spotted the guy who always buys our drinks. When Taylor explained who Dixon was, Faraji warned her of the dangers of such a relationship. Later that year, word spread that Fox Sports would soon be launching its own debate show to rival ESPN's First Take. The show, Undisputed, would feature Bayless and former NFL star Shannon Sharpe. Many were surprised to hear that Taylor, who was relatively inexperienced at the time, was named moderator of what would be the network's flagship show, but behind the scenes, Dixon was allegedly adamant that she should be on the show. Okay. And when I saw this, I'm thinking, okay, what the fuck does that have to do with creating a toxic work environment for Faraji, right? That was my thinking. I'm like, well, so what the fuck? Like, okay, I get what does that what does one have to do with the other? I'm trying to make the connection for me. And so we go on. It says Taylor told Faraji to get over it when she was told that Dixon groped her. By 2017, Faraji was working on Undisputed, thanks to Taylor's recommendation. Early that year, Taylor had her birthday party at a rooftop bar in West Hollywood. Multiple co-workers, including Dixon and Faraji, were present. At some point in the night, Faraji was allegedly approached by Dixon, who then placed his hand on her lower back. After she refused a drink, he lowered his hand to grab her butt. She faked a phone call to get out of the situation. When she confided in Taylor, the Undisputed moderator told her to get over it and that she herself only had her job because of Mr. Dixon, and that Miss Faraji only had her job because Miss Taylor requested her. She warned that Miss Dixon could take both away. Now, upon my first reading of this, I'm thinking, this is somebody, and I'm talking about Joy Taylor. This is someone who, like, has a position, a prominent position that she's worked to get to, and she does not want to be involved in some, like, in any sort of litigation. Like, if that happened, girl, come on, like, don't rock the boat, sort of shit. Like, that sounds to me like somebody who did not want to be involved in any sort of litigation that can involve them being, like, you told me, so now I gotta go testify. I don't want to be involved in no shit. Like, girl, chill out. I got my job because of that motherfucker, and like, you got your job because of me. Like, if you go out and you start talking, like, we both fuck, right? That's how I took it upon my first reading of that. And in many ways, I still kind of lean towards that thinking. Like, yo, this sounds to me like somebody who doesn't want to be involved in a potential sexual harassment case or whatever, right? Unfortunately for Joy Taylor, whether or not she wanted to be involved or not, if that were the case, right? Because again, all of this shit is alleged. But if that were the case, sounds to me like Joy Taylor, despite her not wanting to be involved, found herself involved any motherfucking way, right? It says now, number 4, they say that Taylor allegedly slept with FS1 colleague Emmanuel Acho to get another show. When Faraji met with Taylor for lunch one day in 2020, she said she found Taylor with a man who would later be identified as Acho. Faraji didn't know him at the time, but like with Dixon, she said she could tell that Taylor and Acho were romantically involved. Once Faraji discovered he was a co-worker, Taylor revealed that she wanted him to recommend her for the show Speak for Yourself. The complaint says that Faraji warned her against having affairs with both Acho and Dixon at the same time, but Taylor said that there was nothing to worry about. She explained that she was also now powerful, the lawsuit states, and once Mr. Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would follow through on her plan to tell the company that he forced herself on her and that she would not allow herself to be forced out by Mr. Dixon like other women talent. Now, this is the part that had sports bros panties in a bunch. Like, this is the one, like, these niggas was all, like, when they got to this right here, these niggas was, like, all over it. It's almost as if they forgot all the other shit, right? Because, again, I think, when it comes to this, we have to understand that all of this is alleged. We don't know any of this shit to be true. This is a lawsuit. All of this stuff is alleged, right? And I'm still trying, I was still trying to figure out, okay, so if Joy Taylor had been having sex with Emmanuel Acho and this Charles Dixon fellow, how that made it a toxic sexual or a toxic work environment for Faraji, right? I want to piece this together. How does Joy Taylor make your work environment toxic? Like, what is it about? Because she's out here moving in a way that she thinks she may be advancing for herself, but you don't want to operate in that way. So is it like because you guys aren't operating in the same way that makes it toxic for you? Like, how does bringing Joy Taylor in this make this about a toxic working environment for you, right? And if what is alleged of Joy Taylor, especially the whole thing of her, alleged, saying that like eventually she was going to come back and say that Charles Dixon forced himself on her, then that is what that there in and of itself, that's fucked up. If that's true, that's fucked up. However, I'm still trying to make the connection between how her operating in that way connects to how people were treating you, right? I want to make that connection. So one of the things about this, though, one of the things about this is that my thing has been for a long time, and it's sadly predictable, sadly motherfucking predictable, is that when a lot of these types of stories come out, the blame more often than not is aimed at the women who are involved. And when I tell you the sports bros train is never late, nigga, that train is never fucking late. I'm going to show you guys, right? This happened. This happened right after these articles started kind of percolating on social media, right? So I took a screen. I screen recorded. I just put in Joy Taylor's name on YouTube, and I screen recorded this, and I want you guys to just kind of watch. I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can see right along with Spann. Hold on a second while I do this here. But I want you guys to see just how sports YouTube reacted to this. Okay, let me pull this up so you guys. I'm gonna refresh it on the screen here, but let me refresh this here. But this may get very ugly. Bombshell lawsuit. Joy Taylor was planning to Me Too herself. Fox Sports freak-offs. Joy Taylor. Fox Sports freak-offs exposed Joy Taylor, Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless lawsuit receipts. Joy Taylor proves women can sleep their way to the top. FS1's bombshell lawsuit. Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor. Slept with all of Fox. Joy Taylor is Fox's biggest bust down. And of course, it's not ironic that you guys are seeing some of the same motherfucking content creators over and fucking over again, right? Marcellus Wiley, Angel Reese, Jason Whitlock, and Des Bryant react to Joy Taylor. Joy Taylor allegedly slept her way to the top. The same motherfucker here again, right? Bombshell, Fox Sports lawsuit exposes Joy Taylor as a sexual freak for hire. Shannon Sharp addresses lawsuit names Skip Bayless, Joy Taylor, yada, yada, yada. So, sports bros, podcasters, whether it be podcasters, whether it be fucking YouTubers, predictably these niggas was on some bullshit, right? It's all about it's all about the hate campaign. And the reason why I know it's all about the hate campaign, for as you guys see, all these, Joy Taylor goes viral as she's exposed for cheating with cheating on X with her boss. Joy Taylor admits to sleeping with everybody, then instantly regretted it. Shocking leaked video, all these different fucking, and it was weird, how 2 hours. This video has 8.9 thousand views, 219,000 views from 17 hours ago. 45,000 views in 7 hours. So there's an appetite for this shit. The hate campaign is never fucking late when it comes to women in sports. And even still, like I said, I want to connect the dots as to how Joy Taylor's behavior, really made it a toxic work environment for this Nusha Faraji lady. I want to make that connection. If there is a connection there to be made. I want to make that connection if there's a connection there to be made. But this was red meat for sports bros. Red meat. And we've seen this before. Y'all remember how folks were talking about, what's her name? Malika Andrews over at ESPN. And how, on like the sports bros on on YouTube, they hate Malika Andrews. And they like to project that a lot of the NBA players hate Malika Andrews as well. Malika Andrews was doing she did an interview, I want to say it might have been with Jimmy Butler, where they talked about this. And like the sports bros like, was going in on her even addressing the issue. When Malika Andrews would just be basically doing her fucking job by talking about I believe it was it Brandon Miller, I believe his name was. He was a young prospect. I think he got drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. And he was involved in a shooting of some sort down at the whatever college it was. He was there, right? I think it was a teammate of some sort. There was a shooting involved down, and somebody died, and she made mention of that incident during the draft, and motherfuckers lost their shit as though he ended up going number 2 in the draft any motherfucking way. But to act as though her bringing it up as if NBA teams hadn't considered whether or not that was a thing that could be a problem for them, and maybe considering whether or not they want to draft him or not, they acted as though she had committed a heresy of some sort, right? Same thing with the Josh Giddey situation, where she didn't come out and say that Josh Giddey was guilty, so they were mad at her for saying. So now Malika Andrews has hold on, let's not forget, Malika Andrews is married to a white guy. Okay, so Malika Andrews married to a white guy. It was a white dude who was accused of being with a young girl who might have been underage. That shit was still under investigation. They were mad at her for not talking about it to the degree they wanted her to talk about it, and so now she hates black men. Right? That is the prevailing what's the fucking word that I'm looking for? That is the prevailing thought of how a lot of sports bros talk about Malika Andrews now. Think about how they're talking about Angel Reese right now, where you got NBA podcasters bringing on motherfuckers like Charleston White. And Charleston White calling Angel Reese a hoe who doesn't want to play basketball because Angel Reese likes to look pretty. She likes to be girly and goes on her Instagram and does pretty girly shit. But now she wants to be a hoe. And now NBA podcasters have to clean that shit up because they don't want they want to be at the WNBA All-Star game and covering that and all this other shit. Meanwhile, you let motherfuckers like this on your platform. Right? There is a hate campaign about women, especially in the sports arena, man. Niggas don't, as much as niggas like to talk about like they not misogynistic and shit, y'all sure as shit do a damn bad job of like showing that y'all are not. Right? Angel Reese a hoe because she wanted to be girly and play basketball. Malika Andrews hates black men. Joy Taylor's a hoe. And it's mostly about y'all feeling a certain way about these women, making y'all feel a certain way. And when I say making y'all feel a certain way, y'all resent the fact that y'all don't have access to these women. Let's just keep it a buck. Y'all resent the fact that you do not have access to these women. These women out here existing in these sports spaces and being good at their jobs, looking good while they're doing these jobs, and you don't have access to them? Oh, nigga, y'all out here like... That's how y'all out here right now. That's how y'all are out here. Well, the niggas who listen to me, I think got more sense than that. Right? Let me just say that. The fellas who listen to me, I don't think y'all are out here like that. But there's so many niggas who are out here like that on that bullshit, bruh. And it's so fucking obvious that it's it was sadly predictable when I saw Joy Taylor's name attached to that lawsuit and how the reaction of that shit has been, because ultimately the largest thing, the sexual harassment thing, was the largest thing to come up out of this goddamn lawsuit. And nobody's really talking about that part because all these niggas are enamored with the fact that they think that Joy Taylor had to fuck her way to the top. And they're more resentful of the fact that she ain't trying to fuck them. That's the real part of it. We got some comments here in the chat room, man. Jay Full says that he said, man, I was so glad Shannon wasn't involved in this mess, even though he gets on my nerves. Hey, but you know what though? Again, when we're living in a time now where you know, folks don't have to know you to talk shit about you, man. You know, they don't have to know you, they just have to know what's been presented about you. And so when they know what's presented about you, they can try to create a narrative. And he, he came out and he said, like, yeah, y'all tried to connect my name to that shit because y'all wanted clicks. He was absolutely fucking right with that. He was absolutely right. And so you got that going on. Said Canuck Duke is in the chat room. What's up, man? I ain't seen you in a while, brother. Says, also shocking, wasn't Cowherd missing in the report too? Well, yeah, Colin Cowherd was not accused of doing anything. Right? His name wasn't attached to anything associated with this. As a matter of fact, I've been seeing a picture of him and Joy Taylor floating around on social media where they were taking a picture together. And, folks like, high-fiving Colin Cowherd for not like, he's got his arm around her, but he's got his hand in a fist. So he's not like really like touching her in any sort of real way. So people are like, they are really giving him a bit of a one up because he hasn't not appeared unprofessional. He has not appeared unprofessional in regards to her. Let's see. Canuck also says that it says Sports Bros Cuban Beat Skip volunteered a significant amount of his salary for one. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. This man allegedly offered this woman $1.5 million to bone one time, and everybody's talking about whether or not Joy Taylor allegedly slept with Emmanuel Acho and this Dixon dude. Like, this is where y'all went? Because there's no guarantee. That's the other part. This is the other part that I want to make clear. The first hand that counts, right? This Faraji Nushin lady, or Nushin Faraji, I'm sorry, her first hand accounts would be Skip Bayless offering her $1.5 million for a sexual encounter. Unless she was there for a sexual encounter with Dixon and Taylor, or Emmanuel Acho and Taylor, we don't know that to have ever happened at all. These are all allegations. And yet, all of these dudes jumped out the fucking window because, again, Joy Taylor makes them feel a certain way. Joy Taylor fine as shit, man. I get it. She fine as a motherfucker. But because they don't have access to someone like a Joy Taylor, that makes these motherfuckers feel a certain way. And it's not just, the niggas online. Think about this. This is some of their other coworkers, too. Let me pull this down. This ain't just their coworkers, bro. I'm sorry, the niggas online. It's some of their co-workers too. Jason Whitlock was out here talking shit about Joy Taylor. Jason Whitlock. Now y'all know Jason Coonlock ain't been up. He used to be on Fox Sports, man. He is mostly reviled, man. A lot of folks do not have a like for Jason Whitlock at all. I've had my own interaction with Jason Whitlock on Twitter some years ago. He is a miserable motherfucking human being. I will say that just based on my own experience with him. But let me pull this up. So this is Jason Whitlock talking about Joy Taylor and his experience with Joy Taylor and whatnot. And let me tell y'all, man, these niggas sound like creeps, bro. These niggas are creeps.
And I don't say this to be hypercritical of Joy Taylor. I don't have harsh opinions of Joy Taylor. She's not someone that I didn't get along with. I basically, for the most part, just kept my distance from Joy Taylor. And I kept my distance not because I didn't like her, it's just because I knew myself. I know myself. I know what I'm capable of. And that big rack of hers that she showed off constantly, It's just, and that peanut butter skin with that big rat. Like, Jay, keep your distance. That's going to get you into trouble.
What does that sound like? It sounds a lot like that, don't it? I gotta stay away from her. I know what I'm capable of. She got them cans up there, man. She that peanut butter skin. Oh Lord, I can't be around this lady. Oh man, I get myself in trouble. I know what I'm capable of. I can't control myself. Like that's what the fuck these niggas sound like. And this was a coworker of hers, right? So it ain't just the niggas that's online who are lusting about to this lady, who are really just mad that they have no shot in the motherfucker. They have a snowball shot in hell. But it's some of these other niggas like that also were in proximity to her and they're just mad that they probably didn't get a shot. If what is alleged is to be true. If what is alleged is to be true. But it's been weird, it's been odd, it's been awkward to watch niggas go out on a limb, jump out that motherfucking window to accuse this lady of like, and like all of them believe. Marcellus Wiley out here talking about lawyers is calling him, talking about, you know, this shit is actionable and he can sue and everything else. Like what are y'all doing, man? What are y'all doing? It's the same, like, this has been a common thing these last few weeks, man. Like, when it comes to fucking Malika Andrews, sports bros were all over her head. When it came to it was Malika Andrews, and then it was you got this Joy Taylor thing, but then you also had Angel Reese. Angel Reese out here catching flack. She ended up having to get rid of her Instagram after niggas got mad because they saw some titties and shit on her Instagram. Now they can't look at her as a hooper no more because they saw titties. You know, that stupid shit. But then also, think about how niggas was going in on Travis Hunter's girlfriend just a few weeks ago. And how all these motherfuckers was acting as though they were looking out for Travis Hunter, despite the fact that they don't know this nigga from a can of fucking paint. And they think that he was supposed to have been taking their advice, despite the fact that he don't know them from Adam. Sports bros are out here looking real fucking weird now, bro. Like, y'all are out here wilding. Niggas are out here fucking wilding, bro. And it's all coming and stemming from these parasocial relationships that people have online where y'all think y'all know niggas, y'all think y'all know what all the intricacies of these relationships are about when y'all don't know shit. Y'all don't know nothing but what has been presented to you on social media. And everything that people present of themselves on social media is fucking curated. It's all curated. You only see what niggas want you to see. And then when somebody does want to misconstrue some shit, it's very easy because you niggas don't fact check a goddamn thing. It's all about what you fucking believe. Facts be damned. So it's like it's weirdly and sadly predictable that this was the reaction that we got from niggas when it came to this, you know, this lawsuit that's largely stemmed from Skip Bayless offering a woman $1.5 million to have sex with her when she had no attraction to him whatsoever, didn't want to engage in the encounter, and yet we talking about Joy Taylor. Make that make sense. And the sense of it is that there's a lot of guys, man. There's a lot of guys out here who resent the fact that there's some women out here that they are attracted to who look good, and they're out here, they're working, and they're doing their thing, and you have to try to discredit them in some way. yeah, the information that you are using that you are basing this on came from a woman, but you are more prone to believe it if you believe that women can't get these particular jobs unless, of course, they're fucking their way to the top. There's a lot of dudes out here who believe women can't obtain these positions unless they fucking somebody. There's a lot of people who don't believe that you can obtain any level of success without having compromised yourself in some sort of way. We saw this when it came. This shit comes back. We saw this when it came to Cat Williams. When Cat Williams came out here alleging all this shit back in 2024, at the beginning of 2024 on that Shannon Sharp interview, when he started talking shit about all his folks, and everybody was out here talking about that nigga ain't told no lies. Meanwhile, I'm like, this nigga is clearly lying about some of this shit. But so many people wanted to believe that the only reason why these people reach a level of success has to be because they compromise themselves. And it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good to say that the reason why you are not as successful as you want to be is because you haven't compromised yourself. A lot of folks do that. Hell, it's been times where even I'm guilty of that. Right? I made a post earlier this week talking about Trump supporters, like, black Trump supporters and shit. Black Trump, or better yet, not even so much black Trump supporters, but like black Trump content creators and shit. Right? Well, I talked about, like, it's very easy for those folks to make money because that's a money-making enterprise over there. The white folks are looking for black people to say positive things about Donald Trump and shit. And if you were willing to, give up your dignity to say some positive shit about Donald Trump, then damn it, they got some money for you. And some people have taken them up on that. And I can't do it because my integrity won't allow me to. Right? That's me operating in the same way to some degree. But the difference in that is that I'm not saying that everybody who does or who has some level of success or even more success than I do, that all of these motherfuckers only got their success because they compromise themselves. There's a level of belief that a lot of folks have that you cannot be successful in America unless you compromise yourself in some sort of way. And Joy Taylor right now is the next contestant on the Summer Jam screen in regards to that. There's a lot of dudes who don't believe that woman is capable of being a television host in the sports arena without having compromised herself. She looks good. She makes me feel a certain way when I look at her and shit. So there's no way she could really be, as competent as she thinks she is because she looks good. I'm sure somebody had to go and tap that at some point. And then you get, the lawsuit who names her and says that she was involved with Emmanuel Acho and this other, I believe, Charles Dixon dude. I'm forgetting his name. But, again, all of this is alleged. Even the whole thing about Skip Bayless, with the $1.5 million, that's alleged. We don't know that shit to be true. But unfortunately, for a lot of folks, that's all they need. That's all they need. I just want to be cognizant. I want us to be cognizant of the fact that, so many brothers are so enamored with the idea of the woman having no place, especially when in this particular context. So many brothers are inundated in the thought that women have no place commentating on sports, being in anything other than eye candy in the sports arena. They don't want to hear from the women on sports because they don't think that the women are as knowledgeable or that they are as they didn't play the game, therefore they don't know. And here's the other part about it I think is real interesting is that you got a whole bunch of fellas who would say that they don't know because they ain't played the game. It's like, nigga, you didn't play the game at the NFL level neither. You was watching just like they was watching. What makes you think that you know more than she does Right? Joy Taylor's brother played in the NFL. What makes you think that her brother hasn't really talked to her about schemes and shit like that, and or personnel or whatnot? Like that's the tripped out part about so much of this is that we try to discredit the women who have made it in that arena, and most of it is just based upon the fact that we don't like that they make us feel a certain way. More often that feeling is, looking at them, oftentimes maybe your dick get hard every now and again. Let's just keep it a buck. So, yeah, man, that's what it is. It's time for us to get on up out of here. I've been running my mouth for quite some time. But of course, before we get on up out of here, you know what? Before we get up out of here, let me make sure we highlight the folks who are still here in the chat room who had something to say. My man Reggie has he said, ain't really got nothing to do with her. It really doesn't. Canuck says, I don't know. Well, he says right, but I don't know what he was saying right too. So shout out to Canuck. And Reggie T says they be gossiping. And that's the other part before we get up out of here. You niggas be gossiping. I don't ever want to hear another motherfucking dude talk about gossiping is for women. You niggas out here be gossiping. All of this shit is gossip, bro. All of it. So I don't ever want to hear another nigga telling me, yo, man, y'all niggas out here gossiping. When y'all out here gossiping about Joy Taylor, y'all out here gossiping about Travis Hunter's girlfriend. We all out here gossiping about Malika Andrews. You niggas out here gossiping. Just like the women that y'all be belittling all the time for the gossip that they got going on. You niggas are hypocrites to the highest degree, bro. To the highest degree. So yeah, man, we got that going on. But like I said, man, it's time for me to get on up out of here. But before we get out of here, I gotta let you guys know how to get in touch with us over here, the Mr. Spann Official Podcast, and let your voice be heard. Go ahead and hit us up at our hotline at area code 313-288-0485. That's area code 313-288-0485. Leave me those voicemail messages. Of course, those messages will get played here live on the show and responded to in kind. You can also email us here at feedback@thespannreport.com. That's feedback@thespannreport.com. Go ahead, leave us those emails and I will reply to those emails here live on the show. Also, hit me up on Threads and Instagram. My name on both of those platforms is Mr._Spann. So go ahead, follow me there. Chop it up with your man Spann throughout the week. Also, I am on Blue Sky. So if you want to chop it up with your man Spann on Blue Sky, my name is Mr. Spann, no underscore, MRSPANN.bsky.social over there on Blue Sky. So chop it up with me over there. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and on Spotify. Those 5-star reviews are the ones that get right here live on the show. We really appreciate everybody who does that. Doesn't cost you a dime, just a couple minutes of your time to let everybody know why you're rocking with us over here at the Mr. Spann Official Podcast and the Spann Report Podcast Network in its entirety. And also, go to our store, copy yourself some merch, man. We really appreciate everybody who does that. That does cost you a couple of dollars, but it helps us, keep this operation going. And also, you get something tangible, man. You get yourself a hoodie, get yourself a t-shirt, get yourself a coffee mug, get yourself a mouse pad. We got some stuff over there. And like I said, we got hats too. So we appreciate everybody who supports us in that way, man. But it is time for me to get on up out of here. I got to go to work tomorrow. So let me get myself ready to get back to the grind. And I will talk to you guys again soon. But until next time, fam. Peace.